Shizabde, hop on the beat!
It is now time for Part 4 of the JoJo anime and manga differences. The Part 4 adaptation is probably one of the most interesting when it comes to changes. A large amount is added and rearranged across the entire season. Let's take a look. The anime occasionally plays clips from Morioh Radio, which was added for the anime. There's a new opening scene showing one of Kira's victims. The anime shows Jotaro during his taxi ride to Morioh. In the manga, there's extra dialogue to introduce Josuke's heritage. In the anime, Koichi recognizes Joseph's name. The manga had an extra schoolgirl talking to Josuke. Some of Jotaro's thoughts about Josuke are moved towards the end of the scene. In the anime, Josuke and Koichi leave Jotaro because they are running late. In the manga, Jotaro is the one who leaves. The anime takes an old woman from later in the manga and adds her to the scene where Tomoko was hit on. She is also given a name when she was nameless in the manga. The first half of Angelo's backstory and the scene of Jotaro looking at the town are moved here. The anime adds a scene introducing Angelo and shows him take control of the robber. There's a new scene of Josuke and Koichi walking from school to the grocery store. The anime adds a woman with the robber who is killed by Angelo. There is a scene showing some of the future stand users in the crowd. The anime adds a scene of Josuke speaking to Jotaro on the phone and Angelo outside of Josuke's house. The second half of Angelo's backstory is moved to the beginning of the second episode, and is combined with the scene of him meeting Tomoko. The anime adds a scene with "Oh, That's a Baseball" from Part 3. In the manga, Josuke's video game console is modeled after a Super Famicom. The anime changes it to resemble a Nintendo 64. The anime adds a scene of Koichi outside of Josuke's house. The Nijimura brothers' house is also visible in this scene. In the anime, Josuke explains that his mother is away with relatives during the scene when Angelo attacks. The anime adds a scene of Josuke jumping down the stairs. In the anime, you can see the glove before Josuke takes it, and the leftover glove afterwards. The Nijimura house is now visible in the background of the Angelo rocks scene. Angelo's flashback is shorter than in the manga. There is a new scene of Jotaro speaking on the phone with the Speedwagon Foundation, asking for them to send him the photo of Enya with the arrow. There's a scene of Koichi researching the disappearances in Morioh. The scene of Jotaro meeting Tomoko is shown early. In the anime, Okuyasu lands a few punches on Josuke before being defeated. Josuke is now shown bandaging his hand during the Bad Company fight. Kaicho is not directly shown being hit with Bad Company's missiles. The anime cuts away to the outside of the house. The year where Kaicho's flashback takes place is changed. The symbol on the young Okuyasu's bat is removed. The shadow in the window was changed to look more like Akira. A new scene is added of Okuyasu meeting Josuke for school. In the manga, Tamami became short after he was defeated by Koichi. The anime makes him short from the beginning. The scene of Hazamada's victim stabbing himself is shown. Hazamada is also introduced as short from the beginning. Rohan's manga Pink Dark Boy is added to Hazamada's locker. Yukako is introduced early in the anime, admiring Koichi from afar. The manga had an extra scene of Josuke asking people if they saw his copy. The anime shows Red Hot Chili Peppers spying on Josuke after the fight is over. When Yukako talks about Prince, the anime adds an image of him performing. There's a new scene of Josuke and Okuyasu figuring out where Koichi is being held. An ominous scene showing Tonio is added to the beginning of the episode. The scene of Okuyasu convincing Josuke to go to the restaurant is shortened. Tonio explains why he came to Morioh before serving Okuyasu. In the manga, he explains it after he learns Josuke and Okuyasu are stand users. The video game Josuke was playing is shown. The detailed description of Akira's guitar is removed. A new scene showing one of Kira's victims is shown. Kira is also visible in the streets of Morioh during the power outage. The scene of Akira in prison is shown. The manga only mentions it in exposition. Rohan is briefly foreshadowed in the middle of the episode. The scene of Josuke discovering the receipt is shown. Josuke's birthmark is also added to this scene, since it was never visible in the manga. A new scene of Hazamada in the bookstore is shown. The scene also shows the stand user from the Cheap Trick fight with his back covered. Iggy is added to the image of the Part 3 group. Before Josuke's backstory, Koichi and Okuyasu are shown in the style of the Volume 34 cover. Josuke's line about Mickey Mouse is removed. Jotaro no longer shows Josuke on the map where the rat was shot. In the manga, Jotaro mentions that he can only stop time for 1 second. Multiple lines are cut from the conversation between Rohan and Koichi. In the anime, Heaven's Door is shown fully materializing and touching Reimi to reveal her pages. The scene of Rohan being asked for directions is removed. Kira's introduction is moved to 1 scene later. The brand name of Josuke's shoes is removed from the anime. The scene of Shigechi finding his old chewing gum is removed. There is a new line where Okuyasu says he thinks Shigechi's mom is attractive. A cameo scene of Koichi and Yukako is added. The 2 conversations with the bank teller are combined into one. Josuke is shown biting his lip during the scene at the bank. This is a reference to the Enigma fight, where biting his lip is revealed to be his tell. The anime shows Crazy Diamond healing Okuyasu's ear. There is now a cat that gets scared by Shigechi when he passes by. I thought that it might be Stray Cat's user from later, but it looks different. The anime shows Shigechi stealing the alcohol for later in the fight. The Cinderella arc was moved to be before the Yoshikage Kira chapters, while in the manga it was immediately after. The first scene of this arc in the manga references the Kira chapters, so it was replaced. Originally, Joseph tells Yukako to go to the Cinderella salon, while in the anime, she is shown spying on Koichi and stumbles upon the salon herself. A cameo scene of Kira is added to the beginning of the episode. The scene of Yukako cutting in line and tying a man's arm to a pole is removed. Josuke is shown using Crazy Diamond to save himself from falling out the window. Aya reading Yukako's hand lines is skipped. Several scenes in the episode are stylized to look like Aya's Cinderella book. The anime adds an extra scene of Kira in his house. Dialogue is added to acknowledge the events of the Cinderella arc, since it was moved. Kira is not shown wearing gloves inside of the gym. A new conversation between Josuke and Okuyasu was added to the background of Kira trying to grab the bag. Kira is no longer shown looking over his shoulder before revealing his stand. In the anime, Killer Queen is briefly shown with a skull for a face. The anime shows Kira's neck wound throughout the fight. In the manga, it disappeared. Aya is added to the group of characters gathered to discuss Kira. Kira's unique tie and shirt from when he walks past Josuke is replaced with the sheer heart attack outfit. He now has bandages for his neck wound. Kira is now shown destroying the severed hand before following the woman. A scene of Kira at the woman's apartment was added, along with a scene of Koichi before meeting up with Jotaro. A shot from the tailor's point of view is added, where he can only see Sheer Heart Attack's trail. Some of Act 3's dialogue is removed. The brand name of Kira's jacket is not shown in the anime. Koichi's inner monologue about Kira's normal appearance is skipped. Josuke is shown trying to heal Aya with his stand in the anime. During the shot of the crowd, Mikitaka, Yuya, and Teranosuke are visible. Kira, disguised as Kozaku, can also be seen. Some of the chapters at the Kawajiri house are now placed before the Atom Heart Father episode. Okuyasu's dialogue about ghosts is removed. Shinobu's dialogue about how Hayato has her trapped in the marriage is skipped. In the manga, the landlord is nice at first before asking for the rent. The conversation about Rohan's manga translation between Rohan and Joseph is removed. The anime skips Rohan reading the details of Ken's pages. Some of Yoshihiro's monologue is removed from the fight. The scene of Mikitaka being shot with the arrow is now before the scene with Kira. There is a new scene of Jotaro with a Speedwagon Foundation member. Some of Josuke and Okuyasu's dialogue before meeting Mikitaka is removed. The scene of Mikitaka showing his electric toothbrush is removed, as is the scene of him mimicking the yen note. The scene of Josuke practicing with the dice is skipped. Rohan no longer goes inside to look for dice. Multiple scenes are removed from the dice game, including the history of CeeLo told by Rohan, Josuke's story about his grandmother, and Rohan testing the dice by biting them. The scene of Mikitaka sweating and Josuke pretending to sneeze to cover it up is also removed. The scene of Hayato spying on his mother and Kira is moved here instead of a few chapters earlier. Some of Josuke and Rohan's dialogue on the bus is removed. There is a new scene of Josuke healing Rohan after the Highway Star fight. Before the Stray Cat arc, a scene is added of Hayato leaving for school. Stray Cat's inner monologue where he discovers he has become a plant is shortened. The scene of Shinobu leaving flowers for the cat is skipped. Kira making Stray Cat sniff a cigarette is removed. The events of the Superfly, Enigma, and Cheap Trick fights are rearranged to show that they occur simultaneously. There's a new scene of Jotaro and Joseph with the SPW agent. Yoshihiro is now shown finding his son and spying on Rohan. Josuke, Okuyasu, and Koichi are now shown discussing Kira. Koichi's kidnapping is shown, while the manga only mentions it after it happened. Cheap Trick's user can now be seen outside before ringing Rohan's doorbell. There are new scenes of Kira at work and Hayato at school. Some of Mikitaka's dialogue before the Superfly fight is removed. Many of the details of the Superfly Tower are skipped. Some of Kinoto's dialogue at Rohan's house is removed. A portion of the Superfly fight is skipped, along with much of the user's dialogue afterwards. In the manga, Josuke brings Koichi's bag to Yuya in the hospital, while in the anime he takes him to where it is. Rohan dropping his pen to try and see Kinoto's back is skipped. Kinoto is not shown crawling up the stairs. The taxi driver's dialogue in the Enigma fight is removed. More of Echo's Act 3's dialogue is skipped. The chapter My Dad Is Not My Dad is shown simultaneously with Cheap Trick, since they occur at the same time. Much of the Cheap Trick fight is skipped, including Rohan trying to block his hearing, and Cheap Trick drawing people into Rohan's house to see his back. Jotaro is shown investigating the couple Kira killed. There is a new scene of Josuke and Koichi planning to go to the Kawajiri house with Rohan. Kira no longer bites the characters for victory into his nails. Kira is now shown combing his hair back, when in the manga it changes off-screen. Shinobu's teapot now has a different design. The Gucci branding was removed from Rohan's watch. Kira's calculations for the trajectory of the air bullet is removed. Yoshihiro is shown disintegrating in the manga. The hand's position during Okuyasu's return was changed. A flashback of Kira as a child is shown. Kira's death is much more graphic in the anime. Reimi's farewell scene is extended. The ending is significantly expanded to show what happened to all of the characters. A new scene of Tomoko at home is shown, along with a picture of Josuke's grandfather. Koichi and Yukako are shown meeting in front of the Angelo Rock. Okuyasu, his father, and Stray Cat are shown at Tonio's restaurant. They attempt to cure him using Tonio's food, but it doesn't work. Yuya Fungami and his groupies are also shown at the restaurant. Multiple minor characters are shown on the sidewalk in Morioh. Koichi's mother and sister talking about Yukako, the old woman who was added to the first episode, the mother and baby from the Highway Star arc, the biker from the surface fight and the girl from the Cinderella arc who are now a couple, and Kira's former co-workers discussing his death. There is a scene of Tamami and Hazamata arguing. Rohan is shown doing his hand stretches from the Rohan one-shot chapters. Toyohiro and Mikitaka are shown inside of Superfly. Josuke, Okuyasu, and Koichi are shown crouched in front of the Osen store. This is a homage to one of the JoJo manga commercials. Josuke's final pose is shown here instead of at the docks. And that was every difference in Part 4. A large amount of fun moments were skipped to fit the manga into the 39 episode limit. However, the amount of things added, especially to the ending, do help with the pacing of the part. The Part 5 anime is not over yet, but I will begin to work on a video for it to be ready shortly after the final episode. But in the meantime, we have one more thing to cover. Next time on the JoJo anime and manga differences, we'll be looking at the Part 4 live-action movie. Thank you for watching. This is the part of the video where I thank my $5 patrons. Thank you Alex Ramirez, thank you Renee Klein, thank you Fox, thank you Kyo, and thank you Boat Girl.